hitting the live button as we speak. Awesome. I think we're pretty well good to go. Hey everyone, welcome to Victory Condition Gaming. I am Doug. These are my friends. We're playing Mutant Year Zero. So yeah, this is our fourth episode. I kind of give a little recap before we start diving into it. But first, let's introduce the players for tonight. We'll start with the person to my. Oh, I don't know how it's set up. I'm going to start with Mr. Josh Melville from Halloweenville on YouTube, aka Peyton the Fixer on this series.
Woo! Let's go.
And then we have the one and only Ian Rollins from Freakopolis Geekery.
How's it going? Oh, I am excited to be back in the wastes.
You're excited to adventure out into the zone.
I'm wary, but I'm excited to be back in the game at least.
Nice. Let's see here. I think we're. Let me just make sure that we're streaming just fine on the show. And then last but not least, we have Zach, aka I forget Tadpole, the dog handler, and his trusty sidekick, Poochie Snoop.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Let's give a little recap as to what has transpired since the last episode, or from the last episode. The last episode, you guys got to the animal towers. You found out that there's pretty much a mutant animal settlement up on top of the towers. The towers are quite a ways away from your settlement. There are apes and bears and dogs and reptiles.
Oh my!
Yeah. You met the grand alpha of this community called Tesla, and there are two. There's a reptile alpha named Lemmy who does not trust you guys at all. There is also a bear alpha named Errol.
Who is a total bro.
Total.
So
Because that's kind of how it is on this show. We got to have at least one guy that's a meathead.
You've got so many bear references.
And then we also have a wolf alpha named Melville. And yeah.
Good name.
Well, and when we left off the last show, you guys had made a mess of the sacred totem pole that they had in the center of their community, and Tesla seemed to be pretty forgiving about it, and
oh, you forgot the best part. We were almost thrown into the Wheel of Fortune here.
Yes, that's right. They did have this thing called Wheel of Fortune that the reptiles seem to really enjoy playing, but it's not fun for the actual players.
It's not really that fortuitous.
No. But luckily you guys were spared of the Wheel of Fortune, and then what we had found out is that the animal community had sent out a scouting pack of dogs to check out the big explosion that happened a few nights ago, and they hadn't returned. Actually, it wasn't a few nights ago. It was I think they said it was like four or 5 nights ago, and they hadn't returned as of then. But right at the end of the session, one of the dogs. Two of the dogs, I should say, were at the landing spot where the entrance was, and one of them is mortally wounded. One of them is really banged up, and we left it there at that point. Yeah. So from there on, we'll just hop right into it, guys. Yeah. So you look over the edge of one of the middle tower, and down on that platform where the shuttle, that little bus that they rope back and forth, the folks that go into the community. You see two dogs, and one of them is just laying on the ground, very lifeless, just holding onto its side. The other dog is just looking up at looking up at the top of the tower, and he's like pacing as much as possible. You can definitely tell he's kind of limping, and he's also holding his side. And they both don't look to be in the greatest shape, but especially the one that's just kind of just lying on the ground.
Who can we see is waiting for them of the important community members?
You can see that it's kind of gotten the one that was walking around did give a howl to alert everybody that they were down there. So pretty much the whole community has kind of shifted over because they were all kind of intently waiting for this scouting party to come back with news. And so everybody's kind of at some point along those three rooftops, they're all kind of, I'd say like 85% of the communities are all looking or trying to get a view at the folks, at the two dog scouts that were down below.
Are either of you two proficient with healing?
I am.
Do you want to offer your services?
Yeah, if they make it, are they on their way up here? So once they get up here, I'll.
Yeah, I mean, Tesla will, you can definitely tell he's looking around and very, really, really concerned. Of course, Arrow is very is looking. He commands the other bears to lower the little. It looks like a beat up or old wrecked Volkswagen Bug down to lower them down. You also see some of the other dogs, the dog community, get into that car before it goes down so that they can help the others up. And then and Tesla's just, you can see all the monkeys and apes just kind of all making themselves busy and trying to, in anticipation of them coming up to the top of the towers.
I'm guessing Melville is probably pretty forward amongst this group.
Melville is definitely concerned. Melville's one of the dogs that actually went down in that car to bring the two wounded scouts back.
All right, so as we kind of make our way through the crowd, with Tadpole at the lead because he's intent on giving some healing aid when they make their way on up, I'll turn to Tadpole and I'll go, my friend, we'll have to speak with Melville before we do anything too drastic here, I'm afraid.
I think we're offering services they require, so I don't think too many questions need to be asked.
I would hope not if they're reasonable, but I fear we have not entirely gained their trust.
Perhaps it is a good time to gain their trust then.
Yeah, I'm at your back.
Yeah, and as you guys are kind of talking, there is one character that isn't really paying all that close attention to the scouts that are down below, but instead they're definitely keeping an eye on you all, and especially Hedron. Or is it Hadron? Hedron. I can't remember what it.
Hadron.
Hadron. And that, of course, is Lemmy. And Lemmy, from in Hadron's pockets, a piece of the totem pole is sticking out that he pocketed. And Lemmy immediately accuses Lemmy of stealing relics of their sacred relics of their community, immediately starts pointing fingers at all of you, starts causing a huge scene. Most of the folks, on the other towers are still looking at the two scouts that are down below, but definitely the ones that are on the central console are now their attention is shifted to Lemmy, and because Lemmy's just yelling, "Thieves! Thieves! They have taken a piece of our sacred totem. Apprehend him at once!" And all of a sudden, some of the reptile community comes in from each side and grabs Hadron and pulls him over to their tower, and just before you can even act, he's gone, and he's taken away for thievery. And while they're pulling Lemmy, while they're pulling Hadron across the bridge to the reptile tower, Lemmy reaches over and pulls out the piece of the totem that was in Hadron's pocket, and holds it up so everybody can see it, and says, "See? I told you, they are not here for good means. They are here to steal from us." And then, of course, while he's doing that, his eyes are always like
Okay.
twitching around.
So just ask like a question. Like,
Sure.
Are we playing to win, or are we playing to have hilarious conversations and stories? I want to get that question out right now before I say something.
It's totally up to you. I'm not going to tell you which way to play. If you want to play one way, you can totally play one way.
Mutation point, Wheel of Fortune. He thinks the Wheel of Fortune is the greatest way to settle Hadron's stealing of the idol.
All right. So Lemmy says, I love this. Lemmy says, Once our scouts are attended to, we shall play Wheel of Fortune." And you hear all the reptiles they raise their little clawed hands and they're to the sky and like, "Yes! Yes!" And like a couple of them, their tongues come out, and they like, this was like they won the lottery.
I'm sure the hyena is somewhere in there.
The hyena, the hyena is just like,
Wheel of Fortune!
Wheel of Fortune!
Oh, jeez. I'm guessing the bug arrives not long after that's decreed.
The what's that?
The cart.
Oh, the little, yep. After a while, they scoop up the mortally wounded dog scout, and you can see that they gingerly bring him into the Volkswagen Bug. The other one gets in, and they come up, and Tesla says, as they're coming up the pulley system, Tesla says, he looks at you and he's like, why would you try to steal from us?
Oh, we didn't steal anything. If anything, the tower fell over. Maybe he picked up a piece of metal, not realizing that it had been part of it. Wasn't trying to take anything.
You must remember.
It looks like there's a more dire situation than what's going on over there. Let's tend to the scouts, and then we can deal with this situation after.
That sounds manipulating.
That does sound manipulating. Give me a manipulation roll.
Got your back. I will chime in also with at least a bumbling attempt of an explanation where I'll go, you have seen what we can do. On the outside, we show our traits. Hadron, more on the inside. He works with things. He is a mechanic, and when he sees something useful, it does not matter if it's just laying about on the ground. He'll pick it up and make use of it. You cannot blame one for acting on their inner nature like that.
Are we just rolling for sixes in this one, right?
That's right. Yep.
Okay, so 1 success out of 3.
Okay. So Tesla agrees, and it says, yes, you're right. There are more important things for me to attend to at this moment. But do not think that this will not be addressed later.
Of course. Definitely.
And Tadpole is going to start pushing towards getting
Okay.
See
So
if he can
as
tell which, if the mortally wounded dog is like straight up, there's nothing he can do, or if he can
yeah, the Volkswagen bug shuttle kind of thing uh, comes up, and they definitely you see one of the dogs just kind of hop out, and he's just kind of limping, and then he just kind of sits down in the middle of the open area. The other Melville and another dog definitely pick up the mortally wounded dog and place him on the ground next to him, and you can definitely tell that some of the reptiles who are kind of like the spiritual part of the community have kind of gathered around, and they start to like hold hands and almost as if they're like praying almost, but you can definitely tell that they're very concerned about this dog that came back and doesn't look like it's going to survive. And to be honest with you, the dog has no chance of survival. You can definitely tell it's mortally wounded. It's bleeding right out from its side, and it's just not. It's whimpering, and you can just tell it's in its final minutes.
Yeah, I'm looking. Where is this page?
I'm gonna spend the mutation point and
Okay.
and block as much pain as it can feel.
All right. And yeah, so you can definitely tell the whimpers start to subside, and it just kind of takes a deep breath and it just passes. And you can definitely tell Melville at that point just howls as loud as he can, and all. What's that?
I think Tadpole howls too. He's a dog handler. He knows.
Yeah.
This.
So as soon as Melville howls, you hear all the other dogs in the community that are there. They all start to howl, and the whole community, the whole top of the rooftops, just howl in unison as this one of their members just passes away.
Tadpole will howl along and then go move to check on the other one to see how it's doing.
Yeah. So as you're tending to the other one kind of just, of course, it's never seen creatures like you before, so he's very kind of cautious and looks at you like I don't think you should be near me. So he's really apprehensive as you come close to him.
What? You've never seen a hairless monkey? Shh, calm yourself. Let me check your wounds.
And so it shows you it's definitely like licking his paw, and it's got a pretty good gash across its chest, and one of its legs is definitely broken. So
Nice.
yeah.
I've got just awesome heals, so let me roll and see if I've got anything. One success.
Okay. So yeah, we'll say that you set his leg and splint it up, and definitely make it a little bit more, a little bit better.
Okay.
Does he seem
no life-threatening wounds on the chest.
No, it's just it's a deep gash. It'll leave a really good scar, but it's not going to be it bled pretty good, but it seems to have stopped by now.
Okay.
The dog scout looks at you and says, "Thank you. My name is Armstrong."
Neil?
Ne-
Neil Armstrong?
Just Armstrong. He looks at you
Okay.
like looks at you very peculiar, like I cannot kneel. My leg is broken.
Nice comeback.
Yeah.
Tadpole will just kind of like scratch his head and then give him a grub and tell him that he needs to rest.
the dog thanks you. Armstrong looks at you and is very appreciative. Seems to kind of connect with you a little bit. Can kind of looks in your eyes and definitely can tell that you don't mean any ill will towards him. And eats some of the grub and says, "We have to go back out there."
What is wrong?
You wouldn't believe it. These giant metal beings were all over. They attacked us.
Metal beings. Can you describe what they look like? Besides metal, like
They were just all sorts of different shapes, and they had claws and weapons, and they just attacked us for no reason.
when you say weapons, like shooting weapons.
Some of them, yes.
Hmm.
There was this great circular thing. I don't know. I've never seen anything like it. It was almost as big as our towers.
Tadpole is going to look at the alphas and see if they're giving any kind of reaction that I can actually catch or read on and see how they're reacting.
Yeah, Tesla's definitely listening, and he looks over at Errol and definitely says, definitely whispers something to him, and you can definitely Errol's like. And then Errol kind of like moves over to Melville and says something to Melville that you can't really hear. And Melville, you can tell that Melville is hesitant, but knows that there's something that he's whatever Errol said to him definitely definitely is the right thing.
You can't hear Errol whisper.
No, you can't. You're far away. You're like on one side of the middle building, and they're off to like, they're just kind of because you can definitely tell Melville got some information on the way up that he's now divulging to the alphas, and that coupled with the fact that pretty much the same information that that Armstrong just told you.
How's old Lenny looking?
Lemmy is he's tending to Hadron in the reptile. He's left at this point. You can tell he's definitely getting ready for. He's oiling up the Wheel of Fortune.
So how many of these metal machines did you guys see?
Armstrong looks at you and says there were dozens.
Dozens. And how big were they? Were they bigger than human? Were they as big as a building?
They were some were big, some were small. They acted so unusual.
Did they talk at all?
We
tell you what they wanted.
We
to make
did,
demands.
We did not. We tried to make contact with them, but they just attacked us.
Without any provoking, you didn't.
We didn't. No, we didn't do anything. Okay. We just were scouting, and we sent on, one scout to make contact, and poor Jupiter didn't even stand a chance.
This is beginning to sound like a threat to the whole zone.
I do have an idea. Let me talk with Tesla for a moment, and I'll go over to Tesla and I'll say, Tesla, look. So he's telling us about these metal machines that attack. Now, Hadron, I know that we have a situation to deal with Hadron, but what if we put, a team together and, us three plus whoever, bring one of these machines back. Hadron's really good with the stuff. He could potentially look at it and maybe find a weakness for these things, or maybe find an answer to what's going on. So, maybe hold off on the Wheel of Fortune till after. Maybe,
Melville chimes in at this point and says, "Your arrogance. You think you three and can just take one of these machines that decimated my entire scouts?"
You sent 4 scouts,
I did.
correct? We 3 have been through a lot. We've handled some tough situations. If you want to offer up some more help so that we can take, we're just looking to take one and bring it back. I know it's going to be a difficult and probably very dangerous mission, but I'm telling you, the only way to get information is probably to handle it this way. You don't want to walk into another situation with a whole nother group. You want to send all your buddies out there and then them come back like this? No. You want to get intel first. You want to bring that information to you before you go off and start assaulting these things. It sounds like they are, and if they're made out of metal, we're squishy. You know what I'm saying? Like, logically, I think this could be a good plan. Now, if a few of you want to come with us and back us up, maybe we can set a trap for one of these things. Zakirin is excellent. He knows zones. He knows, areas and features and terrain. And then Tadpole and his pup Snoop is amazing. Probably could track down if these things have any sort of chemical uses or lubricants or something.
Sekirin will add in he'll go, I don't mean to necessarily brag, but I'm confident in our abilities. We killed the Devourer on the way here. Isn't that right, Tadpole?
Yeah.
Didn't you take remains of that thing?
Yeah, didn't I take something?
I think so. You'd have proof, right?
Yeah.
A tooth or
You
something.
would.
Yeah, so...
So at this point, you've definitely got Melville's attention, and Melville's very, very impressed. And Melville says, he stands up and stands in front of Tesla and says, "If anybody is going to go with them and avenge my brother's deaths, and it should be me. I will go with them. If you are going to send us out." And Tesla looks and definitely looks very concerned that one of the alphas has offered himself to go out with you. At this point, Lemmy starts waddling back over to the council, I guess we could probably call it, the makeshift council that we've got going on, and let me kind of is trying to like take in everything that has kind of bypassed him since he was away. You can definitely tell he's trying to figure out what's going on. Arrow at this point steps in and says, "Well, if I can't remember the voice that I gave for Arrow at this point."
Yogi Bear up to 11.
Yeah.
Arrow says, There we go. Thanks, Zach. That's all I needed. A little prompting.
Yeah.
Arrow will go with group as well. Arrow, protector of towers. If big machines come to destroy towers, Arrow wants to go and defeat them before they get to our home. It's kind of like Cookie Monster mixed
Yeah, a little.
with, like,
What's not to love about Errol?
Yeah.
I know. And at this point, Lemmy like realizes what's going on, that they're sending like this party out to go with you to research these machines. And Lemmy says, whoa, wait. The reptile needs to be present as well, because we need all of the community. Reptiles have skills as well, and you can see
Mutation
him.
point.
Yeah.
He thinks he's the best person to go.
So let me goes, I will go and protect as well, because I don't think that Errol and Melville need to get all the credit for this. When I come back, everyone will realize that I have saved our community, and I am the true grand alpha that needs to be of this place.
So
Everyone
Kieran will
keep
go,
an eye on him.
I have no mutation points left. Just in case anyone wants to know, it's all gone now.
I have
I'll go,
mutation points, but I can't use them on anything but myself.
Zach,
speaks up for half a moment, goes, that might be the least sun-baked idea Lemmy has ever had.
let me definitely, Zach, definitely throwing me curveballs tonight. I love it.
No doubt.
So let me see. Tesla sits there and realizes that pretty much all of his alpha members of his community are willing to go out and risk their lives to scout and take on this responsibility of getting more information on these metallic beasts that seem to have wiped out the scouting patrol that was just sent out. Tesla is very, very worried, and Tesla says, "What happens if you all get wiped out again? I am just one person. It will be mass chaos if all of your groups no longer have alphas."
We will be as cautious as possible. If the situation seems too dire, like we're going to be in trouble, we'll come back and we'll help fortify this place to make a stand.
Errol says, "Yeah, what he said." See, they're pretty smart after all. So Tesla just kind of sits there and he thinks, and he shakes his head and is like, "Okay, but don't get, if the situation looks too dangerous, don't proceed. We can always send more members with you. We can send a bigger party later if we need to."
Correct.
Okay, that's fine. I will send you. You have my blessing. Just be safe. Do you need anything else before you make your way out?
Our weapons back.
Yes, and if it's not too much trouble, I reach into my my kind of pouch and pull out 3 bullets in between the fingers, and I go, I could probably help about 3 times before I'm useless. So extra ammunition would be quite useful.
So Tesla looks over at Archimedes and kind of gives him a little head nod, and Archimedes, you can see Archimedes go into the other room, into like the main chamber that they usually where they have their meetings, and he comes back out with your weapons and hands you each your weapons. He still has Hadron's weapon.
Yeah.
And he holds it and he looks at Tesla, and Tesla kind of just shakes his head no and motions to put it back back into their chamber. He also brings. Can you roll a d6 for me, Ian, and tell me what you roll? He also brings you 4 more bullets.
Okay.
And says, "We do not have much in the means of ammunition, but I hope these will be an adequate supply for the journey that you're about to take."
Yeah, hopefully we will not be needing them. And I take him. I take the ammunition from him, and I load up the rifle and the sawed-off, and I take the sawed-off by the barrel and hand it towards Melville with the handle towards him, and I go, "You're looking for revenge?" And the sawed-off, its double barrels are at this point corroded and probably quite a bit busted, and it looks as though the thing will explode the next time or two it gets shot. And I go, "You may very well find it in this."
Melville takes it and kind of just looks it over, and then kind of slings it onto his back and says, "Thank you, my friend."
Of course.
Do you have any rope?
Always useful, no matter the adventure.
Tesla looks, and Archimedes is coming out of the chamber, and Tesla looks over at him and makes like a rope hand signal, and Archimedes kind of like stops for a second, turns back around, goes back in. You can tell that he just wishes that he had been told this to begin with, and grabs some rope and comes back out with about 30 feet of rope.
Oh, not 50 feet?
Not 50 feet.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
All right.
I just got shorted 20 feet of rope. Okay.
We did. Hey, man, supplies are limited in
That's okay.
the apocalypse.
I'm thankful that we have it. Zakirin, why don't you take my Derringer as a backup?
All right.
So it's a +1 bonus, 1 damage, range is near, cost 3 to 6.
Near. Oof. It's like a melee weapon.
Definitely, Arrow looks over, and you can see one of the other bears is comes bumbling along, and he's got this big wooden baseball bat with some metal pieces, stuck into the
wire and stuff.
almost like barbed wire, almost like the Demogorgon thing that they did in Stranger Things. But you can definitely tell it's not nails; it's just busted up pieces of metal that they embedded into the sides of it. And they hand it to Melville, and Melville starts swinging around. He almost hits like a couple reptiles as he's swimming around.
Hands it to Errol. Yeah.
Arrow. Yes. and you definitely just kind of just, it's like, yeah, I like this.
Nice.
And like
kind of
you see like people are like dodging like from getting hit.
Now, has everyone got rations?
Yes, you made sure to negotiate for those.
I tried. We got
And,
rations.
what does Lemmy equip?
Lemmy just has a wooden staff. That's it. He's not. He expects you guys all to protect him.
Of course.
Yeah.
But if something unfortunate were to happen to him,
I mean, he might have some other things hidden away in his cloak, but we're not gonna. If he definitely, you don't see him like receive anything or go get anything. Let's put it that way.
So I will turn towards Melville, and I'll go. Which direction?
Melville looks at you and says, "We go north."
All right. And, if you guys are set, I'll start off north with a know the zone.
All right.
Lead the way, brother.
Yeah. So Melville's definitely been on quite a few different scouting trips. so he knows this area pretty well.
Okay.
Melville says this area of the zone is very dangerous, and these metallic monsters aren't the only things that we will encounter along the way. If you thought the Devourer was bad, wait until you see the ghouls.
Very well. Let's get a taste of your zone.
We should not travel the zone at night when the ghouls are out.
And would you like my know the zone, or will Melville be it? So I got 2 successes, which essentially allows me to pick an additional effect.
Okay.
The additional effects of you move through the zone carefully and don't get caught just aren't exciting. So I'm going to choose the effect that is you go through the zone and find any monsters within the zone.
Okay.
However, we have an advantageous position on them when we find them. So we don't necessarily have to engage or anything. Yeah.
So as you encounter this, you can definitely tell there's like everything's really overgrown.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of trees and a lot of really high, really long grass that you're kind of wading through, and you have to push aside. A lot of the grass is almost as tall as you are, and you get into this really like forest area almost, with like these really big trees overhead. And
living trees?
No, they're not living trees. They're actual trees. But all of a sudden, as you are coming down, as you're walking through these trees, these they almost look like if you're a Star Wars fan, they almost look like Minox from Star Wars. They've got like these big like circular mouths, and they're not quite as broad as a Minoc, but they're a little more long. They're definitely nasty. They have black beady eyes, and they have their round mouths definitely have like that sucker kind of mouth on it, and they've got these little teeth that are inside that mouth, and they start to fall down on you. And Melville says, look out for the leeches.
Oh jeez.
So everybody give me a move roll at this point.
Ooh. Not looking good.
Well, since you have the know the zone rule, we'll say that you're advantageous in this situation, and you were able to avoid any leeches that are headed your way because of the fact that you kind of know how fast these leeches fall and what to
No
look
doubt.
for.
I got 1 success.
Okay.
I got a success and took a damage.
Okay, so yeah, you guys avoid. Peyton, you definitely avoid the leeches as they fall. They definitely just fall on the ground, and you can see them like writhe and wiggle around as they make their descent, and you can definitely tell that they missed their mark. Zach, one of them actually landed on you, and instead of like immediately like latching onto you, it's one of its teeth like scraped down the back of your back, and you just took a point of damage with that, I guess. Errol definitely saw them coming, and pretty much you see him just take his baseball bat, and he's just having a field day, just trying to like crank them out of the park. And go ahead.
These things are like they're a lot more defenseless once their ambush is ruined. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Basically, they're if they got a hold of you, it definitely wouldn't have been good.
Mhm.
But you can definitely tell it. Arrow's just bashing. He's actually having fun, like as these things are falling, and like guts and pieces of these giant leeches are just flying everywhere, and there's just like a whole splatter of
Oh, jeez.
of leeches and leech guts and everything on the ground, and Lemmy just is standing back, kind of lets all of you guys walk through, and he's waiting for waiting for all this chaos to end, and then you see him kind of tiptoe around the mess that Arrow has created there in this zone. It's definitely very overgrown, very the trees are really close together, but you're making your way through it.
Is it like is it green? Like, do they have leaves or?
It kind of looks greenish brown. You can definitely tell there's a little bit of life, but you can definitely tell that something's not making it lush.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
We wouldn't happen to know the rot level, would we?
The rot level is we'll just say it's not too bad for this zone.
Mhm.
I forget. That's one thing that I forgot to write down.
That's true. I did not choose to avoid any rot, which is something I can do. So.
Yeah, we'll say that the rot level is I forget the mechanics on that. Do they have to have like a rot stream in that area, or is it just rot in general?
It's 125 each. Each level has its own rot. So there's no rot, which is just like it's okay there. The arc is no rot. Weak rot is you take damage every day. Strong rot is every hour, and hotspot is every minute.
Yeah, we'll say it's just kind of weak. If you guys stayed there for more than a day, then you definitely have some sort of effect.
Okay.
I don't know if that's in the thing that I was looking at. So yeah, so it's definitely not the greatest place to stick around, and you're making your way through it.
All right.
Would you like to do anything else while you're in this zone?
Turn towards Peyton as Errol continues working away until go. Admittedly, he's rather efficient, not using many bullets.
Precisely.
We'll just kind of follow the path he cleaves through these woods if he's really having such a good time.
Oh yeah, he's just whacking away. I mean, you can definitely tell when they stop. Like every once in a while, they'll stop like falling because there's just not very many in that area, and you can definitely tell he's kind of almost disappointed that they're not falling, and he's just kind of like looking around, like hoping that maybe more of them will fall.
Sure.
But yeah, no, he's pretty much taking care of everything that you see.
How's Snoop doing? Any tracks or anything you could pick up on?
You're the real person.
Usually, I already threw my dice, so.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I got skills for that.
Cool.
All right. Let me see. So that is sick and dog agility. Or I use my wits for that one. So 6. Let's see what we get for that one. That could be useful. 1 success.
Okay. Yeah. So he seems to be.
Does he pick up on anything?
He kind of picks up on something. We'll say that he kind of picks up something and he kind of growls a little bit. But then he kind of goes over to something that kind of gets his attention over by a tree.
Well, I'm just behind Errol, so Tadpole.
Yeah.
I will observe from here.
Yeah, this just lets me know if picks up a trail and indicates which direction. That's the best link I kind of get. So I guess I'll just kind of walk with him and see what he goes to.
Yeah, you kind of go to this the bottom of this tree. There's this like almost buried in like about halfway, kind of on an angle, is this weird rectangular box with these knobs on it and these antennas sticking out the back of it, and it's got this. Yeah, it's a TV. It's a broken. It's a broken TV. So,
if only we had Hadron here to tell us what this is.
What did you find over there?
I have no clue. But it's not shooting me, so that's good.
That's fantastic.
Are you sure it's not
come here and you poke it. Tell me what it does.
It might be the remnants of one of those metal men.
Okay, so I will go investigate it a little bit further.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything. It's a broken old TV.
If we were on a mission, I would take this back. This looks like an interesting artifact.
Oh yeah, it would definitely be worth a lot of like. It would be definitely a very valuable relic of the old days back at the Ark.
I am going to make a mental note of its location.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
So Errol and Melville kind of look back at. Errol says, "Are you guys coming? What are you guys doing?"
We're right behind you. We're just I don't know. The dog smelled something, I guess. Did you didn't happen to do any droppings while you were hacking and slashing, did you? Or
that's kind of a personal question.
Well, I'm just curious if the dog maybe picked up one of those or somebody peed on the tree. I'm just
Errol not pee on tree.
No. I guess not. Oh well. Time to move on.
It's a question not easily answered if Errol does business in the woods.
You would know if Errol did business in the woods. Everyone would know if Errol did business in the woods.
Get us out of here, Melville.
Melville just shakes his head and keeps going north.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck did I sign up for? So you guys, that took about a quarter of a day to go through that zone. So it's about, we'll say it's about early afternoon, and you're heading into this other zone.
What's the next one?
What's
Find the path.
Yeah, Melville definitely says we need to be very, very careful here. Walk very, very lightly. We do not want to let them know that we're going through their territory.
Sneak rolls.
What is how's Lemmy reacting?
Lemmy just stands there, and he definitely doesn't say anything. He's got his staff, and then you can see his eyes, like, for a second they're actually straight and they're actually looking at Melville, and then as you look around and look at Lemmy, you can definitely tell all of a sudden his eyes start switching all over the place, like oh, I wasn't making eye contact with anybody.
Yeah, I'm definitely as we're going through this, my eye is on the I don't trust this guy. I just don't.
Okay.
There's something suspicious about him. And I've slung some pretty shady deals in my day, but this guy, yeah, after the whole Wheel of Fortuneness in it.
So yeah, Melville says there's some buildings that looked like our towers up ahead, but they've toppled over and they're not upright like ours. we need to be quiet as we go through them. We can try to go around them if you want, but it's faster if we just go through.
I say we just keep going. Let's take the fastest way there.
Agreed. And I got 2 successes on my sneak. However, I am personally doubtful that Errol is a really sneaky kind of guy.
Ouch. I'm gonna have to
I
push
mean,
that.
if we treat it like move says every time you get a success, you bring somebody along with you. So maybe each sneak we get extra, we
I
bring
would
a
hope.
Yeah, that's
giant
fine.
bear with us.
All right, so
Or Peyton, because apparently he doesn't look real successful right now.
Maybe he got some mutation points out of the deal at least.
I did get a mutation point.
Oh, jeez.
But no successes.
okay,
Well, I got 2, so I could bring Peyton and myself and
okay.
the Kieran can
count
bring
for
the bear.
Errol.
For Arrow, okay.
At least
Mel-
Melville and Lemmy, I guess.
Melville's pretty stealthy. Lemmy, I mean, he's just a little like
He camouflages. Like,
yeah. Iguana, person. So you guys make it through. You're walking through this kind of, it looks like a little old town that is just kind of just falling apart and decimated. There's like an old school bus that is all rusted out, and you're pretty much walking down Main Street. What would be considered Main Street, but it's all like overgrown and everything. Yeah, and
Any signs of life as we make our way through?
there's not, but every once in a while you kind of hear, movement off to the sides of you. Something kind of like, again, I'm gonna do start. You remember, like when in the Jawa scene where like you're in the canyon and like the little rocks come falling down. Yeah, kind of like that. You hear that every once in a while, and that kind of like diverts your attention. But there's nothing really there.
So once as that happens, I'll whisper over to Melville and I'll go, would those be the ghouls you spoke of?
They don't usually come out at night. Come out during the day, but they have been known to do so on occasion. But once one comes, they all come.
Let's get out of here.
Yeah, and you guys are walking through. No problem. Yeah. What you guys want to do? Anything that we'll say this is also kind of a weak rot area.
Mhm.
So you definitely don't want to spend a whole lot of time here, but you're more than welcome to. It takes you a quarter day.
Sure.
Do you guys want to do anything else while you're in this zone to?
Let me see if I can find something interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was going to say I would definitely be interested in looking around.
Okay. Why don't you give me a roll for that?
You know what I do is at least I get a mutation point, which is good.
Did you fumble the find the path?
I did. I'm not going to be able to just say, "Hey, what artifact is here?"
Okay.
However, yeah,
I do have an artifact for you though that I will give you. I'm just waiting on Peyton.
someone else got to find it.
Two
Yeah.
successes.
Okay, awesome. Peyton finds you find an assault rifle.
What?
Yeah, just
Holy moly.
you can see it in one of like the old broken down shops that's definitely all caved in. The shop window is all smashed, but inside looks like there's the part of an assault rifle sticking up. It looks like someone probably came through here and was like tucking it away for to get it later on.
Mhm.
But yeah, you came across it. What's that?
Also, just so you know, his find the path failure just means any monsters find us,
Mhm.
Oh,
ambush you.
Okay, well, we'll deal with that in a little bit here then. So Josh, that's going to give you a +3 to your gear, and it does +2 on damage
Nice.
as long as you have ammo for it, of course.
Right.
The other thing, as you're walking through this downtown abandoned area, something else kind of catches Zakirin's eye,
Mhm.
and you can definitely tell it's kind of there's like this little kind of like hook thing that's sticking out of the mud on the ground. You pick it up, and as you pick it up, there's something else attached to it, and it's like this. It's this cup, and it's about yay high,
Mhm.
and it's got a broken handle, and it's what you would know personally as Ian, you would know this to be a coffee mug, and this coffee mug has some weird writings on it and some weird what's the word I'm looking for? Symbols and stuff on it, and yeah.
Good find, brother.
Yes. Excellent. I'm sure they'll welcome us back with open arms after all this when I present them this thing. And I'll toss it. And when I toss it, I'm sure it shatters across the ground.
It shatters.
Oh.
What it is? It's actually a coffee mug that says "World's Best Boss" on it,
Mhm.
and as it goes flying through the air, it lands on this pile of bricks from one of the buildings, and it just smashes into to many pieces. And at that point, all of a sudden, you hear. And like all of these noises, and it just kind of pops up all the way around you, and you can definitely tell it's just noise. It comes from one side, then another, then
Mhm.
from behind you,
Oh dear
then
Lord!
from
we're surrounded.
in front of you. um and Melville shakes his head. He's like, I told you we needed to be quiet.
Well, now we need to move.
They have found us, and just as you say we need to move, on top of one of the old buildings, you see this character. He kind of looks a little bit smaller than you, but he's got his face all wrapped up, and he's got like almost like a gas mask on, which it kind of looks like a gas mask, and then he's covered in these plastic. It looks like a cape, but it's like plastic. It's all plastic, and it's all ripped and torn and dirty, and he makes eye contact with you, and then he makes like this noise, and all of a sudden you can hear it get a lot louder all around you, and then another one pops up from the other side of you. So yeah, you guys need to know that that you're definitely surrounded at this point.
Oh crap!
Or it appears, it sounds like you're surrounded. We'll say
Right.
that. How about that?
Peyton
And
still says, oh crap!
Melville says, we cannot we need to find shelter, or we need to move. We cannot take them all at once.
Run! Let's run!
This may be a time for move rolls. Maybe.
Yeah, I think that's probably a wise
Oh no.
Oh, I love my agility.
Got my success.
You got your success, okay?
Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on! Ooh, that's
Yeah.
2.
Same
Two successes.
Here. I
Yep.
Awesome.
pushed 2 ones into 2 successes, so
Awesome. So yeah, you all Melville says let's just bolt. We'll go, and he takes you through some of the side streets, and you can definitely tell that kind of takes the ghouls by surprise, and you can kind of hear them now trying to adjust their plans in back of you to try to re-surround you again. But yeah, they don't they don't. You get through the zone without them attacking you or taking you over. Arrow says, "Well, that was close."
You ain't
Yes.
lying. Woo.
And Lemmy says, "If you guys get me killed while we're out here in the zone, you're gonna have to pay for it when you get back, because all of my friends will not like it."
Listen, you volunteered for this. You volunteered your time, your service, so I don't want to hear you complaining. Now let's get moving. Are you a lizard or a tortoise?
Some great fighters you are. You ran away from them.
I tell you what, why don't you turn around and you go fight them with your stick?
Lemmy's not a fighter.
Then why did you come?
To supervise.
To supervise who and what? Listen, we don't have time to stand here and argue about this. If you want to argue, we can do that later. Let's focus on the task at hand. Freaking trash lizard.
Melville hears you and kind of chuckles a little bit and kind of nods and agrees that that's probably a good title for him. Errol, on the other hand, goes, "What did he say? It was funny, though. I want to know what the funny was. Tell me the funny." It has no couth at all that you totally insulted Lemmy.
Look up towards the sky, and how much daylight do we have left?
You can definitely tell it's on the back end of the afternoon. It's going to be evening here soon, and off in the distance you kind of see this smoke, and it's not huge, but it's definitely, you can definitely see like there was some sort of fire or something that's off in the distance, and it's getting fainter, but it definitely, based on the way it looks in the sky, it was going at one point pretty heavily.
I'll pose to Tadpole. Zakirin will go, now that we seem to be ever approaching our destination, he'll go, Tadpole, do you, well, are you excited or anxious to finally meet the signal of your sacred flame?
Oh, this would bring me no greater joy as long as it's not inhabited by giant metal monsters.
Well, perhaps we will be able to find answers once we make our way through them. I do believe Peyton came up with a decent plan there. Maybe if we can capture one, Hadron could find a weakness, and we could find our answers.
Yes, but now we're going to have to go around all of those ghouls that you woke up.
And I'm afraid we will not be able to do it in the night, so things have become complicated, yes.
Zakir and Melville, do you think you can find us a shelter to hold up in?
Are we technically in a new zone?
Yeah, we'll say you're in a new zone there. You're on the edge of a new zone at this point.
All right, we'll give it a go. I almost certainly can. Yeah, no, I can. So I will use my push on that to find a safe place amongst this zone, which doesn't necessarily mean that we do it sneakily or bypass any dangers. It just means that I successfully find a safe place.
Yeah, I mean, you tell me what you want to find for a safe place to.
Well, the general terrain of this place. I mean, yeah, there's smoke in the air and whatnot, but
Yeah, the smoke is quite a ways away. You can definitely tell that you're gonna have to walk. It's probably, as far as the zone's concerned, it's probably like 3/4 of the way through the zone. Um,
there's still any
it's
ruined structures and stuff. Or?
yeah, we'll say that there's some it's maybe like a more residential area. There's not like a whole lot of houses, but there's a few houses that are definitely all caved in. I kind of like the one that is in back of Josh right there.
Yeah, yeah.
There you go.
But, I will.
Hard to see.
I suppose I'll peer inside of a house that looks much like that, and we'll find a rotted open trap door that leads to a sub basement that has, it's probably collapsed and damp and moldy, but it is quiet and safe.
There's definitely water in that basement. Part of half the basement is flooded. But it's got some rot water in it, so you definitely don't want to drink it or come in contact with it. But but there's enough space for all of you to kind of hold up for the evening if you want, and make preparations for the following day.
Sounds good.
All right, spend a ration and a water.
Yep.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing on those?
Not great.
Tadpole hands out rations left and right.
Tadpole, do you need anything?
No, not right now.
Okay.
I've got 2 and 2 left,
Right.
so.
Yeah, I had just
you can look to me if you run out of rations. I got your back. I picked up a few extra.
Yeah.
So
Did anybody grab extra water? Is question.
Water? Yes.
Okay, good.
so
Do you need one
No, I'm fine.
for the moment?
Errol and Melville also brought enough preparations for a few days. Lemmy, on the other hand, he kind of just like he's standing in front of you, looking at you as you're eating and partaking in your rations and water, and kind of like he kind of taps his staff like, "Hey, what about me?"
Are there like roaches or anything crawling around, or grasshopper?
Not that you can see.
There are rot hoppers.
Rockhoppers.
The Kieran will irately point towards the water in the sub basement and go, "You want to know the wisdom of the zones? Then taste of that."
Let me just looks at you like so disgusted, like, how dare you talk to a member of the Alphas? Like, I am Lemmy. I do not have to get my own food. My people bring me my food.
You didn't bring any food with you on a expedition for like several days. So you're gonna sit here and wait for your people to bring you food?
Well, it is custom in our community that the alpha gets, the alpha has much bigger things to attend to than having to deal with food and water, so it comes to him.
No. Errol and Melville have
they are not reptiles.
Back home.
No one's talking about trash lizards right now.
and you can just tell Lemmy's like disgusted by the fact that you said trash lizards.
Now listen. I'm sure you can find a few bugs in the wall. Get your own food. If I see one coming across, I'll slap it for you. But other than that, I'm taking a rest.
And Kieran will finish with at the towers. You are an alpha lizard, but in here, in the zone, you are weak the little thing that must scramble for darkness and find food on its own.
What are the other alphas doing?
The other alphas are partaking in their meals. Melville looks at Snoop and breaks off a piece of his ration and throws it over to Snoop. And Lemmy notices that, and so knowing that he can't get anywhere with you three, decides to go over to Melville to see if his generosity is going to come over to if he's going to get any of Melville's generosity. And as Lemmy starts walking towards Melville just shoves the rest of his ration in his mouth really quickly, and starts chewing it just because he knows that that's what Lemmy's over there to try to mooch off of his rations. Arrow definitely is kind of just sitting there, just kind of not even really paying attention, just kind of chewing on his ration. And Lemmy goes over to Errol, and Errol says, "Oh, Lemmy hungry? Okay." And he definitely takes a piece of his rations and gives it to Lemmy, not knowing, because Errol's big teddy bear more than anything else.
And that kind of prompts Zakirin to ask Errol. He goes, "Have you been out in the zone much, my friend?"
Bears don't go out in zone. Bears protect towers.
It shows, I'm afraid. The prosperity of your tower, it doesn't apply out here. You're fending for yourself.
But if we all survive, chances are we'll have greater success than if one of us doesn't survive. So we should just help each other.
Aww.
I think
he's so cute.
I think we used to believe that. And
At one time.
yeah, look where it got us. And has night fallen?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So someone should be on watch.
Absolutely. Who would like to take the first watch?
I will.
I'll take second watch.
Okay.
Okay.
And, scout roll or?
Yeah, give me some sort of scout roll. Everybody's kind of sleeping. Since you're in a cellar, there's not really all that much. We'll see what comes up.
I get a mutation point. So whatever.
Oh, nice.
If something jumps us on the first watch, I do not see it.
Yeah, we'll say that you kind of hear some shuffling and some things in you hear almost would sound like footsteps, but they're not quite. But they just kind of go past and they're very, very faint. They're not they don't go in that house at all.
Don't really catch sight of anything.
Yeah.
But otherwise my pass ends without too much occurrence.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll go back on down in the basement and find a relatively dry spot to settle down and look over towards Tadpole and go, well, there's something out there, but it is the zone, so there's always something out there. Be careful.
Oh, well, thank you for your knowledge and wisdom.
So before I go, is Lemmy asleep, or do I think he's asleep?
Yeah, he's kind of one of those. He's kind of perched on a rock, and he's definitely one of those. He's got his his three-toed hands grasping, and his eyes are shut. Yeah, as far as you're concerned, he appears to be sleeping.
All right, I'm gonna spend the mutation point I gained, and I'm gonna see what he's thinking now. If that's him dreaming or whatever it is, I'm kind of curious.
Okay.
Oh my.
Yeah, you can definitely tell Lemmy's not. Um, you can definitely tell Lemmy's not sound asleep. You can tell that he's having a hard time. He's very scared, but he's trying not to make it appear, make it make it appear to you all that he is scared being out in the zone like he is. And you can definitely tell that he doesn't trust you three.
I can't
And
imagine why.
yeah, and that he's thinking, I've got to find my chance.
I agree as well. Okay, I'll go up and go and watch after
Okay.
that. Push it 2 successes.
Okay. Yeah, so as you're sitting there, you kind of hear all of a sudden you hear like the squeaking, and then you kind of hear all these like little tiny like spattering of footsteps, and then it starts to get louder and it starts to get louder as you get up and you look out one of the old windows in this house, and going down the sidewalk it almost looks like a stream almost, but you can definitely tell it's like all of these like rats, like, and they don't look healthy. A lot of them look like half their fur is off and they're red and pink, and they have it's hard to tell at night, but you can definitely tell they just don't look good. And they're probably about the size of a cat. Yeah, they're
That's bad
they're,
news.
they're big, and they're just kind of making their way through past the house.
Like how close by?
I mean, not like right up against the house, but like definitely like a few feet away from the house. You can, and if you were awake downstairs, you could probably hear them from underneath the ground in the basement. Yeah, they're definitely large. They're large zone rats, and
They're rodents of unusual size.
And yeah, exactly, and they're
River of them.
and there is like it's almost like a river. Yeah, we'll say it's it's like a few feet wide, and just kind of like it's almost as if they're running from something. You know how when a ship starts to capsize and they're just trying to find higher ground, and it's just like a mass exodus of rats that are trying to find.
I'm assuming you've seen Stranger Things, the season 3.
Yes,
like the horde of rats are all like the first episode.
Exactly, kind of like that. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh my god.
I say absolutely nothing and make not a noise.
Okay. Yep. No, fine. Then yeah, they go right past you. They probably takes a good 7 minutes for them to all go past, but yeah, they go past without incident.
As soon as they get past and I don't see them for like a solid 5 minutes, I wake up Zakirin and Melville and explain what the heck I just saw and see what they think, because they know more than me.
I'm pretty much going to say that my master, Yasan, he never even mentioned such things. I fear we're so far from the Ark. My knowledge might not be useful any longer. You did well in not getting us noticed. I hope we're still safe. What about Melville? Does he know anything? I hope.
Melville kind of perks up one of his ears. Kind of he hears you stirring, and one of his ears perks up, and he gets up off the ground in the cellar and kind of walks around a little bit, and then comes up and rubs his eyes and says, what did you encounter up there?"
A river of rats. So many rats, I could not count them for
And
minutes.
he stops and he says, it wasn't just one or two, or like a group of rats, like a small, like it was, like you couldn't count them. Like
More.
we've seen rats in the zone before, but never a whole not so many that you weren't able to count them. That's very, very, very odd.
From
I wonder why that would be.
Description. There was a horde of them up there.
Why would they be hoarding together? This is odd. We've never seen them do this before.
I fear that whatever threat has come to this region begets yet further threats. If that swarm of rats came across our ark, it would take a much larger holy flame to be able to fend all them off.
I guess I should be glad that our community is raised up above the ground, so we don't. As Josh puts evil rats image behind him. Melville says there are definitely strange things in this zone, and even when you think you've got it all figured out, things change.
And you can see that Zakirin is obviously wary of how dangerous this sounds. Like, if they did discover us, there's not enough bullets between both our communities to take out all those rats. However, more vastly, his disposition is that of disappointment, in that he didn't get to witness something in the zone that he hadn't seen before. It's just a stalker's desire to really know the zone.
Sure.
Tadpole got the honor of that one. So, is there another watch before the sun rises, or?
I think at this point it's probably like 4 or 5 in the morning.
Okay.
And the sun's starting to peek out.
I'll ask Melville if those rats, are they a nocturnal problem too, like the ghouls?
They definitely come out more at night.
All right.
But we have seen them during the days as well. It's kind of this zone has a lot of creatures that love the darkness.
Let's see if we can find one of your metal creatures and tie it up and get the hell out of here.
I'm very worried that might be causing what all the rats to stir.
However, I do believe the rules say that I can only know the zone once per zone, so I can't throw that and just find us the enemies. I already found us a safe place to sleep. So,
Right.
that would be up to someone else.
Yeah, but we don't get to stalk or know the zone.
No.
Or find the path. We just get to know the
Maybe
zone.
Melville can. Yeah, find the path, right.
What's that? Know the zone, wits. Yeah, I could do a decent roll on that.
Probably be useful. Right, it's find the path is the stalker specific ability that lets you bypass all the bullcrap and just say, I find it.
Right. So you want me to do a know the zone roll?
Yeah. Why don't you do that? What are you trying to know? Just trying to find something in it.
Yeah.
Something that brings us towards our destination. Hopefully a lone and weakened metal man.
I guess so. Or I can hold it till later.
Totally up to you. Whatever you want to do.
What do you guys think?
Oh, we might find something cool in the least.
Okay.
There's no point in not throwing it. We still have to traverse the rest of the zone. So
I trust my buddy. 1 success.
Okay. Um. So yeah, we'll say that as you're, are you still guys still down in the basement, or are you guys up out of the house trying to
I would have
make your
gone.
way?
I would have gone up and
Gone
out.
on up. All right, so yeah, we're traversing.
Okay, so as you're traversing, Melville is kind of taking the lead. He's going towards uh, the direction of where the smoke was coming from,
Mhm.
and as you're walking, you see. Trying to think here. You kind of see something in the dirt. Um,
Okay.
you see like something black and odd shaped, kind of sticking up out of the ground.
Could you
All right.
define odd shaped?
Um, well, it's kind of curved. The part that's sticking up is
Keep
kind of
it clean.
curved, and it's
All right.
it's definitely dull, but it's black and it's curved and it's sticking up out of the ground.
I'll stop a moment and like kind of like dig it out.
Okay. Yeah, you seem to be finding all these weapons. You find a rusty revolver with a black handle on the.
Hey,
What?
rusty revolver.
As you
Like
pop out with this weapon, having hauled it from the earth, and the dust and rock goes flying everywhere, Zakirin is at your side with the Derringer already in hand. Well, not to say that I don't think you could make good use of that, Phaeton, but if we could make a deal.
You know what? You're good. You usually help me find some really cool artifacts to sell. And we usually share the profits off of that. So why don't we, if you want to trade, that's fine with me.
All right. Cool.
So just as you're making this trade transaction, Lemmy comes over and he kind of eyeballs you like
With both eyes or one eye?
with both eyes for a second. He kind of looks. Both eyes kind of shift over to Zakirin as you hand him a pistol, and as you take the other pistol in return, he just kind of like holds his hands up like, "All right, what you've got an extra gun. You should be giving it to me."
Have you ever fired the gun before, Lemmy?
Does it matter? I've seen people fire guns before. I know how they work.
Okay, so I take my my pipe rifle off my back and I eject the one bullet from him and hand him an empty pipe rifle, and I go point and shoot. It'll work.
And he takes it and he I mean, it's so big. His arms are like little reptile arms, and he just can't even hold it up. And finally, just as he's trying to hold it up, he just kind of tosses it aside. And it's like, I can't use that.
I'll pick it up and clean it off. Wipe it off at least. With disdain, because Hadron made that for me.
I was just going to say, thank goodness Hadron isn't here.
Yeah,
Because that would be one dead lizard.
no doubt. Listen, that's his little Derringer there. This is now my revolver, and you are not using this pipe rifle, apparently, so stay with your staff, if that's what you choose.
Lemmy just kind of huffs and walks away and walks in back of Errol. Yeah. So as you walk a little further, you notice that Melville kind of motions for you to stand back and just hold back just a little bit, and he proceeds to go a little bit further on his own, and he's gone for 5-10 minutes. You don't see him, and then he comes back and he says, there's a big crater up ahead.
Hmm.
That's where the smoke is coming from. We should definitely be careful.
Tadpole just starts taking lead and going towards the crater.
Okay. So as we all kind of make our way to the crater, you can kind of see. It's not like miles long or anything. It's probably a few hundred feet. It definitely you can't see down into it from. You kind of have to go up over the lip and to see down underneath it. But that's definitely the source of where the smoke was coming from, and you can tell that there's scorched earth and everything around the edge of the crater. So something definitely made an impact right here.
Is it still burning? Still smoldering?
It's not really smoldering. It looks like it's there's just a faint little bit of smoke that's coming up out of it at this point.
I will crawl on my belly and look over the edge.
Okay.
See anything?
Yeah, you see at the bottom of the crater is this metallic being, I guess is probably the best way to say it. It's got some treads for legs.
Mm-hmm.
It's got some, extending arms. It's on its back at this point, and it's got I'm trying to think of it's got a robotic face. You can definitely tell that it's not. It's a machine, and it's kind of twitching every once in a while from.
Okay, so it is moving.
Yeah, it's moving really kind of suddenly, quickly, but it's not moving all the time. It's just every once in a while.
Kind of almost like a twitch.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will slunk back, and I'll be like, waving over to get down low, and then I will look to there's one down there.
Just one.
Just one. It almost appears as if it's taken some damage from the impact, like it fell out of the sky or something. It's on its back. It is twitching, but then it stops and then it moves again. Just take a look, guys. Peek over and take a look, and then we need a game plan. I think we can take it while it's on its back.
All right. We'll glance over at it, and
so as you glance over at it, you notice that the treads of this machine, like they kick on every once in a while and rotate through, and then it moves a little bit, and then it stops. And then it comes back up. It comes back on for a second and moves a little bit. The treads maybe rotate the other way, and then it just stops again.
And how large is this thing?
It's definitely bigger than a human.
Bigger than a bear?
Yeah, right.
It's probably about the size of a bear, yeah.
I was going to say, I look over to Errol, and I go, do you think you could move that? Carry it.
Arrow strong. Arrow pick metal boxes up and bring them wherever you want.
Did you said the robot had an arm?
It's got a couple like mechanical arms that come out of it. They've got like probably three prong.
Like
pincher
tentacle style, or like
no, they're kind of jointed. They're like jointed.
Yeah, like the movie Short Circuit.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Okay, so I can sneak around the backside of this if somebody wants to come with me. All right, Errol, and whoever can make the distraction by heading straight on. So if it tries to target someone, at least they're facing away from me for one. You know what? Lemmy, we got a job for you, buddy.
Let me kind of perks up for a second, and then walks over to Errol. Doesn't want to acknowledge you.
I'll chime
Anyway,
in with a.
we need a distraction, and I need someone to come with me, and we need to use the rope that I got to tie this sucker down, and we'll drag it back.
I hate to take Lemmy's place, but I can fly. I believe it'll probably have a hard time reaching at me if I'm darting about. It'll give you time to make your way around with the rope, and along with Errol's help, Melville, we might be able to secure it.
Okay.
Where do you want me to go?
I think you should be the one to go with Peyton.
All
Come on,
right.
Tadpole, let's do this.
Arrow says, "What Arrow gonna do?"
When my wings start beating, you charge down there. And, well, be careful.
Arrow always careful. Arrow careful. Arrow the carefulest. As he swings the bat around.
Causes Lemmy to dodge all over the place.
All right, so you guys wait for me and Tadpole to get in position. We'll give you the signal, and then 1, 2, 3, just
All right.
go for it.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah. So sounds good. You guys can pull off this. Are you guys all gonna get into place and then ambush them? Okay.
I suppose there's some preemptive rolls.
Yeah, we'll do. Let's do some sort of sneak roll, maybe.
Okay.
See if you guys can sneak into place.
5, 6, 7, 8 dice.
You got 8 dice. Holy.
Yep. My sneak is wicked good. Ouch. I'm going to push that for sure.
Oof.
No sixes, huh?
No successes. Here we go. 1 success, no ones.
Okay.
I got a success.
All right. Hey, did you just get one?
Yeah.
What about Zakirin?
Mm. Two.
Got 2?
Yep.
Okay. Where is so fix Peyton and Tadpole are together, right?
Yep.
So yeah, as you guys creep into place, you definitely knock over some of the rubble that was at the lip, and it comes tumbling down. And as it tumbles down, it hits the top of the robot's head, and immediately it says unusual parameters, immediate reboot required. And then it shuts down, and then it comes back on. And then all of a sudden you see its arms like flail about, and then they automatically go backwards, and you can see, even though they're like backwards, they lift the robot upright.
Mm-hmm.
And the robot stands up, and the treads start moving, and it says Delta CFK 026 is now online.
All right. I will spend a mutation point to fly at it.
Okay. As you fly, are you flying? What angle are you flying? Are you flying in back of it? Are you flying in front of it?
From the top down,
The
like
top
right
down.
towards its head. Yeah.
All right. So as you fly down, it says uh, sensors indicate intruder approaching, and then all of a sudden from its back, we're totally going with the short circuit reference.
Yep.
The laser rifle laser cannon definitely flips over and starts to take aim at Zakirin.
All right.
Is Errol charging in?
Arrow is. Did anybody give him the sign? Was there a sign to?
I told him when I fly.
Oh, okay.
Charges.
So yeah, so Arrow rushes over the edge and also starts to approach the. And he's just swinging his bat back and forth
like a mad bear.
like a mad trying to intimidate this machine. Because he probably thinks that that's probably a good tactic, but
And once it's distracted enough by them two, then Tadpole and I will charge in with the rope, one of us on each end. We're going to do kind of another Star Wars reference here, and just like run around it in like a circle, try to wrap it up.
try to do the whole AT.
Yeah.
Maneuver.
Yes,
Right, that's cool.
Nothing
Why
can
don't
go
you?
bad with this.
No, absolutely not. I'm trying to find my. Oh, there it is, right there. Trying to find my dice roller for Mutant Year Zero here.
I got a link for it if you want it.
I found it. Cool. So yeah, as you guys, since you guys didn't really get the sneak on him, he is going to now try to shoot Zakirin. Which
murder this robot.
But he totally misses.
Ooh, thank God.
You can definitely tell his systems are still trying to come all the way online. They haven't quite booted up to 100% yet, but yeah, he takes a shot at you and it veers way right.
And this thing shoots laser beams.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Awesome. All right. Well, I've taken my action. I'm in distraction mode.
So the other two are wrapping. Okay.
Yep. What do you want us to roll for that?
I don't know what give me some sort of
Move.
Or fight.
or fight. Yeah, why don't we do a fight roll? That would probably that might apply.
Okay.
This is gonna be bad.
Oh no! Come on, Tadpole.
I counted on my dog doing the fighting, not me
Yeah.
running around.
I did get one.
You got one.
I got one, and I took a damage.
Oof.
Okay, so you're running around trying to wrap this robot up. No matter how many times you try to go around it, the arms seem to always avoid the rope, so you're just pretty much just wrapping around the middle of it. At one point, the robot grabs the rope on Zakirin or on Tadpole's side and just kind of swings it so that Tadpole goes flying in one direction and lands on the ground and lands on a big rock and hurts the side of his the side of his body. Takes 1 point of damage. But yeah, you're kind of wrapping it up in rope, but it doesn't seem to really kind of do much to it at this point.
Errol, can you hit the cannon?
Arrow looks at it and says, looks at you and says, "Arrow, take it. Arrow, smash." And let me roll for Arrow.
Come on, Errol.
We'll do
You got this.
there, 2 there, and we'll do 4 there. Okay. Yeah, Arrow gets one good hit in, and kind of he hits the laser cannon, but it just kind of puts a big dent in it,
Mhm.
and you can see sparks kind of fly in it, but it's still definitely online. You can definitely tell it's online.
Okay.
So yeah, it's up to you guys. What?
Does anyone want
can.
to do anything? I have an idea, but I'll let someone else go first.
So I'm gonna fly right up in this thing's face,
Okay.
and I'm gonna beat my wings incredibly fast right in front of its sensors. And the air begins to kind of whip about, and the buzzing becomes unbelievably loud, an ability which I have not yet made use of. And
Okay.
that
Interesting.
reduces the enemy's empathy, I believe, by 1 point. So just straight up cuts down their attributes.
Okay. Okay. I like it. Yeah, we'll say it kind of jams some of his signal and
Yeah,
And,
the sensors and stuff.
yeah. Yeah. So the
Just being more of a distraction.
yeah. So as you're doing this, two of its arms are just kind of it's kind of like trying to like swat you away more than anything else.
All right.
Excellent.
It's actually going to try to shoot Errol at this point.
Oh no! If Harold dies, oh, I'm getting revenge.
Let me roll that and see if he hits. Oh yeah. So the robot Delta CKF CFK. I'm sorry, Delta CFK. KFC. No, I mean, if they want to sponsor the show, they're more than welcome to.
Yeah.
Some good chicken right there. Yeah, the laser comes after it takes that hit from Errol. It definitely locks onto Errol and shoots him right in the shoulder, and it just leaves like this singed hole mark that just goes right in, and it just you hear Errol just roar with pain as this laser just shoots pretty much right straight through the top of his shoulder. As he's swinging, as he's trying to come around for another swing with his bat.
Finish it, please.
Okay, so can we see wires that are coming out of the back of the laser and into the robot, or is it all one solid piece?
Sure, yeah, we'll say that there's lasers there. We'll say that there's wires. It's not like exposed wires or anything, but it's probably like encased wires. So
Okay.
it's like probably like that flex kind of pipe, because that wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to leap onto its back, grab a hold of that, rip the bandages off my face, exposing my mandibles, and just chomp down onto it.
Okay.
See if I can't. If I take damage, I'll take damage from it.
Awesome. I love it.
What would you like for that?
Can you chomp as a mutation point?
I can't. That would be awesome.
Oh, so we can't automatically succeed on this one.
I thought you do with the mandibles. Like most of the time, you just spend the mutation point and get what you want.
Really?
That's usually how the mutation points is.
If you have one to spend, it's going to succeed at the effect you're looking for. So.
Oh well, then I will spend one if that's the case.
Are you what's your trait? The insectoid, or do you have something?
Insectoid.
Let's make sure.
Which has the healing, reducing damage.
Yeah, just healing, sticking to stuff, and hardened skin to reduce damage. Which reducing damage is still awesome.
We can make a call on that.
Well, that's why I was thinking. Even if I got to take damage, I'm not worried about it. I want this thing stopped.
Okay.
So I'm taking one of those heroic moments to I see him shoot Errol, and I'm like, no.
Chomp.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll say you let that. You do bite into the cords, sever the cords at all, all the way through with this like sparks and everything. It definitely doesn't feel good
Yeah.
in your mandibles, and we'll say that yeah, you take one point of damage for that, and your mouth is kind of it's electrocuted, so we'll say it's kind of numb at this point.
Yeah.
So if you want to communicate with any of your team members, we're going to say it's going to take a few rounds before you can actually get to speak again.
So I will. That's an external attack. So I will spend a mutant point to heal that 1 point of damage.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
And at that, Tadpole will say, I forgot how ugly you are.
Does it seem to be incapacitated or?
No, it's still the arms are still moving. It's still it's definitely online, but it's not as weaponized as it once was. You
Not
guys are
as
definitely
weaponized.
yeah. I mean, it's
I don't
definitely
like how you say that.
it's definitely got those arms that that could probably if you get close enough to it, it could probably take it out. And at this point, the robot kind of realizes that it's getting, it's not in the most ideal situation. So it's got its treads going, and it's trying to take off in one direction to try to get out of the crater. So it's pulling anybody who's still attached to the rope. Is anybody attached to the rope at all?
You knocked me off of it, so I'm not.
I knocked you out of it. And did Peyton? Are you still have any of the rope on?
Well, no, but I'm on its back anyway.
Okay, so it's trying to take off out of this crater.
Yeah.
It still has to, it's got a pretty good incline for it to try to get up on, of course, but it's definitely trying to get away at this point.
Tadpole will try to take a shoot at its treads.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go for it.
That's one success. I'm gonna push it.
Okay.
See if I get some more.
Yeah.
Nope, but I got two bad ones. So.
Yeah, you fire and it hits one of the treads, but it doesn't really sever it at all. And it's still, you can definitely tell the tread's weakened. So as it's going through, it kind of like flips up every once in a while, but it's still able to roll pretty much just fine.
I'll call out for Melville. Melville, shoot the tread.
Melville takes the rifle. What did he have?
He had the pipe shotgun or the double barreled. It was a legit artifact.
Okay. Yeah. So he takes it out. I don't know if Melville's ever really shot a gun before, so we'll definitely give him some.
He's agile.
No, he does. He shoots and it misses totally.
Recoil knocks him back.
Yeah, it kind of knocks him back, and you can definitely tell he's not used to shooting any kind of rifle.
Someone stop this crazy train!
Well, clinging to this thing's head as it makes its way up the incline, Peyton down there chomping on the wires, my friend shooting at the treads, I will draw the black-handled revolver and, hanging off the edge, I'll shoot on down there. And
where are you trying to shoot? Are you trying to shoot his like the chassis part? Or are you trying to shoot his
thread that has been damaged?
Okay.
It's looking pretty good, but still gonna push on. Holy moly! So I am gonna take 1 point of fatigue.
Okay.
However, 2 points of fatigue actually, but so it's literally 2 ones, 4 successes, and a failure. So
okay. So we'll say you definitely you blow that tread right off of the robot, and immediately it tries to dig in the dirt and it just topples over, and you can see it start to fall and it roll down back down to the bottom of the
Throws
crater.
me in the process.
And yeah, it kind of throws you in the process, and also Peyton's on its back, so
Yeah.
Peyton's also kind of taking some of that spill damage as it's rolling around, and
Give it
you
to
know
me.
it's definitely it's the arms are flailing at this point, and as it's rolling back down to the bottom of the crater.
How's Errol looking? Incapacitated or just in pain?
Arrow's just really in pain. He's not. He's just holding his shoulder, and you can just tell he's really really mad. But he's watching what's going on, and he's hoping that he doesn't have to get involved if he doesn't have to. But you can definitely tell he's in a lot of pain, and he doesn't really think that a one-armed bear is gonna help as much as whatever damage you guys are causing at this point. He'll wait off and see how you guys end up. It looks like you guys are making pretty good headway without him having to get any further injured.
Yeah, hopefully we can wrap it up with this thing in its state. So,
What kind of the head, the eye sockets of this thing, are they like the short circuit robot, or are they a little different?
They're a little bit different. It's got like one big red sensor in the middle of it, kind of like Shockwave from
Gotcha.
Transformers, but it's definitely got. It's not quite as broad, but it's a little more narrow. Okay. And and Lemmy's kind of hiding out in back of Arrow at this point.
Jerk.
Would imagine nothing less.
Yeah, right. So when this thing stops tumbling down, how much damage did I take from that?
We'll say you took 2 damage.
Okay.
Because you rolled a few times.
Yeah. Which is worth it. That's fine. I would like to try to smash, take the Derringer out. And since I have no bullets, I mean, I'm just wanting to take the butt end of it and like smash the red sensor thing if I can.
Okay, sure. Go for
it. So strength. Fight. Gives me that 3. I have to push.
I can't wait for next episode scenes where we interrogate a robot.
All right, so I will take 1 point of damage on that. And I don't think I want to push again, so...
Yeah, you can only push once, so...
Right, unless you have that other ability.
Oh, yeah, unless you have that other ability. Yep.
I don't have that, so I can't push anymore.
No successes?
No successes.
All right, so at this point, as you are trying to smash the red eye of this robot, one of the arms comes up and grabs your wrist and flings you off of it, and definitely doesn't give you a chance to damage it any further.
Okay.
Save us, Snoop.
I just reload my gun. Right, that takes a round, right?
Yeah, that takes. We'll give you a round for that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, what the robot will probably do is it gets down to the base of the crater. Again, it kind of takes its arms, since those are the only thing that are functioning properly, and it picks itself back up off of the prone position that it was in, and we'll say that that's what it uses its turn for, to set itself upright.
I suppose if we take out the other tread, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, you could definitely tell that he's just kind of spinning in one circle at this point because he only has one tread that's working.
Does he have working weapons other than his arms?
Other than his arms, no. It doesn't seem like he has any other weapons.
No, then we just have to incapacitate the arms, I suppose. So I stand back up with a groan, and yeah, I'll try and shoot at one of those arms.
Okay.
The old revolver. Boom, and boom, and that would be 3 successes.
Awesome.
So yeah.
So you shoot one of the arms, blow it completely off.
Nice.
And it just goes flying across the side of the crater.
Clang!
And as you do that, the robot's head like spins around suddenly, as if it just realized that it didn't initially realize that you were there.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
So yeah, it totally did this like 180-degree head turn.
These are crazy. All right, 1 arm left, I suppose.
Yeah, it is. So at this point, it kind of sparks a little bit. The arm is the where the arm was is sparking, and the other arm is just kind of, it's still for a second, and you can definitely tell it's just kind of scanning the surroundings.
I will take the moment to spend a couple mutation points to heal myself.
Okay. So how are you going to heal? Are you just bandaging yourself up? Is that?
Yeah. I always carry extra bandages just in case.
All right. Cool.
But you have naturally regenerative properties.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
You're the insectoid. Yeah, my bad. So yeah, so you just kind of take a moment and chill and kind of
Yeah,
let
I
yourself
just
hear.
kind of like take it all in.
Okay. We'll say
this robot's not going anywhere at this point.
We'll say one more round after this one, and then you'll be able to communicate again, because of your the electric shock that you took to your face, to your mouth, I should say, your mandibles.
On purpose.
Your mandibles. Yeah. What is Tadpole doing?
I'm just aiming down right now. I'm waiting to see what we're gonna do. I'll get an aim on the other arm, but I'm not gonna pull the trigger yet until we. Bullets are precious.
So as you guys are standing there, Errol kind of looks around and looks at Peyton as he's kind of taking a second to heal, and he's taking a look at Tadpole as he's just kind of standing there aiming, and Errol grabs his shoulder and starts running towards the robot, and he says, "Well, if you guys aren't going to do it, I'll do it myself." And
I love this guy.
he's just going to try to charge it and try to rip the arm off him.
That's awesome.
We're going to let him push that. Yeah, no, he totally as he's holding his arm, he's charging from the other side of the robot. The robot again does this weird 180-degree head turn, immediately sees Arrow coming towards him, and takes the as Arrow is coming onto him, he takes the good arm and starts to do this movement where he just kind of spins from the waist and takes the one good arm out and just hits Errol, and Errol just goes flying.
Nice.
Shoot, Tadpole.
And then as after he hits Errol, the spinning slows down and it just stops. But not the spinning stops, not the robot itself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't power down or anything.
Okay, I was just checking. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I guess I'll take my shot at him then.
Okay, go for it.
So I aim to that. My Agility sucks now. Oh crap. Okay.
Mine is soon to degrade as well.
I'm gonna push it and really hope this doesn't go really bad. Oh, okay. So I took one more point of fatigue. So that's poopy. But I got 3 successes.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. So you blow the second arm off of it, and it's just basically just sitting there. One arm is in one direction, one arm is in a totally other direction, and it's just sitting there, helpless, and can't move. Has no arms, has no laser rifle or cannon anymore, and at this point, it realizes that it's malfunctioning and that it shuts itself down completely.
I was gonna say, tell me they don't self-destruct, and this whole
Go,
thing
go,
is
go.
for naught. Like,
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to really tie it up. It has no arms.
I was gonna say, I suppose
Oh,
we can close
unless
the scene in the episode with us hefting this thing out of the crater. Like,
we could use the rope to help. All of us can grab it and pull.
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Okay, so you're all gonna like tie it up, and then that way you can pull it through the zones that you've traveled to, and yeah, we'll leave it there as you guys are pulling this robot that is pretty much shut itself down because it has no method to defend itself with, and you guys are pulling it to the animal towers,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's where we'll leave it at this point.
Very cool. I like it.
Yeah, woo!
That's quite the adventure.
Good job, guys.
Yeah.
And next session, Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of yes, absolutely. The Wheel of Fortune. We'll see what happens at that point.
Is there like a tiny, tiny little thin pie slice that's like, free lunch or something amongst the exile or burning?
They're all bad.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see what happens to Hadron. Maybe he can still survive Wheel of Fortune before we can interrogate the robot, or maybe he'll interrogate the robot and then have to play Wheel of Fortune. We'll see.
Find out
Next episode. I want to thank everybody that tuned in, that's watching this on replay, or everybody that tuned in live. I also want to thank the awesome players that we have on this show. Josh Melville, a.k.a. Peyton, Ian Rollins, a.k.a. Zakirin, and Zach, a.k.a. Tadpole. This has been Victory Condition Gaming, because winning shouldn't be the only victory condition when you get to the table. We'll see you next time. Bye now.